Yo, how's it going, guys? Loops here. I am gonna be doing a fun little mod to the Forester. I'm gonna be installing some coilovers. I got a second set of coilovers from Silvers. I have some currently on the GC. I absolutely love them. They are amazing. They ride like stock and they get pretty stiff when I need them to get stiff, so it's super cool. I do have those on Swift springs. The Silvers coilovers that I ordered are actually gonna be on the stock springs that they offer, so I'm really curious how it's going to drive compared to the GC as far as like comfort goes. But yeah, I finally have some Silvers coilovers for the Forester, so we're gonna go ahead, throw them on this bad girl right here, and yeah. So it should be a pretty smooth process. It shouldn't take too long, I hope. But you never know. I haven't done struts on this car, so I don't really know how easy it's gonna be, just because the car is pretty old and I don't think the suspension has been touched in a while. So yeah, we'll see. So let me show you guys the coilovers real quick, and yeah, we'll get on with the install. All right, so here they are, Silver's Neomax Coilovers. So these are gonna be going on the Forester. I'm gonna be dropping it, not an extreme amount. I'm mainly gonna add a little bit of camber on the front and the rear to clear the RPF1s. I'm gonna have to run a 18mm spacer in the front once I get these installed, which are my Brembos. Yeah, I'm gonna be running Brembos on this. It's freaking awesome. But yeah, once I get the Brembos on, I'm gonna need to run an 18mm spacer in the front to clear the Brembos with the RPF1s. And I think that should be pretty much it. So yeah, I'm gonna unbox them real quick. Go ahead and get these opened up. See what is inside. Should be the coilovers. I ended up getting the coilover coverage as well, and I have camber plates on the rear. So yeah, here they are. Oh yeah, can't wait to throw these on. The Forester definitely deserves them. So I'm gonna get these out to kind of just show you guys what they're gonna look like here. Yeah, this is gonna be freaking awesome. So here is one of them. I want to say this is going to be the rear. So yep, this one right here I think is going to be the rear. As y'all can see, I've got camber plates. So both the front and the rear are going to have camber plates because I am going to need them to clear the RPF1s. So I believe that is rear. I want to say the rears are, no, that's going to be front. No, those are rears. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Like I said, I think this one might be the front, but yeah, I think this is front. I think the other one's rear. But yeah, super cool. Let's go ahead, get the Forester set up to throw these on. I'm really curious on how they are going to ride. That is going to be the main thing. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, of course, we're gonna put this thing on jack stands. So yeah, I'm gonna put it up on all fours, and yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so I got the rear end on that, so now I'm gonna move on over to the front. All right, so the Forester is up on all fours now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start taking off all the wheels. But before I do that, because just kind of want to give you guys a closer look at them. So here they are. They look super good. Yeah, their quality is actually really nice, and they give you like a little form with like your warranty info and all that stuff. But yeah, let's take the wheels off, and yeah, let's get this thing started. I'm gonna pop the hood open and undo the top bolts once I'm done with the bottom. And yeah, so realistically, all you really need, it should be 19 wrench, 19 impact or ratchet, or a breaker bar if you don't have any impacts, or a big ratchet to loosen up the strut mount bolts to the, or the camber bolts I should say, that go onto the actual spindle. So yeah, two 19s. You need 14s as well. You can either use a wrench or a ratchet 14. I would recommend a ratchet 14. That's gonna be for your top strut mounts. And I think that should be it. Maybe a 10mm for brake lines if that, flathead, and a hammer. And I think that should be it. So yeah, let's take the wheels off. And the only reason I haven't done, or I'm not going to do my Brembos yet, is because my adapters haven't gone here on time, and my spacers, my wheel spacers aren't here either. So I need to wait on those before I can even throw on the Brembos. So fun stuff there, just waiting on parts. But yeah. Cool, I'm gonna move on over to the other side. All right, so they are all off. So As you can see, should be a 19. I think this might be a 19 as well, or a 21 on this side. We'll double check that. Looks like that might be a 12 or a 10 millimeter. We'll double check that as well for the ABS sensor. And then for the top, still need to pop the hood open. Let me open this real quick actually. For the top, it should be 14s. It'll be also the same for the back. So yeah, let's get started with this whole thing. Shouldn't be too hard. I am gonna pre-prep my coilovers also, so I am gonna put some anti-seize and actually make sure they're set correctly. And yeah, that should be it for that. So hopefully it goes smoothly. We'll see. And essentially what I'm doing to prep these is I'm putting some anti-seize on the threads just to make sure that they don't seize up later down in the road. So I'm doing a lot of anti-seize because this is gonna be my daily, and it's been my daily for the past year already. So yeah, a lot of anti-seize is what I'm putting on here. So it's better to have more than to have less. So yeah, and if you get this on yourself, you're gonna look like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. So just a heads up. But I think that was right. I think these shorter ones are gonna be for the front, so it should still apply. Shorter ones are gonna be front, longer ones are gonna be for the back. And I'm gonna remeasure them with these stocks to see how much I'm gonna lower it. I don't wanna lower it for more than like, I don't know, more than like an inch, or maybe, I don't know, an inch and a half, 2 inches at the very most. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this one up. And then it wasn't what do they call it, rebound. I'm adjusting preload on the springs because they don't set them on these coilovers. If you opt out for the Swift springs, then at that point they do adjust the preload for you. But if you opt out for the regular springs, they don't adjust the preload on them, so I'm gonna adjust them. But yeah, I'm gonna finish this one up, adjust preload. I'm gonna show you guys how that gets done for adjusting the preload on these. And yeah. All right, one thing I did notice about these compared to the ones on the GC with the Swifts is that the actual coils, like the springs, kind of are like beehive shaped. They're not like, I don't know, actually the fronts look linear. The rears, I don't think are linear. I think it's skinnier in the bottom and goes fatter in the middle and then goes skinny again on top. So I wonder what type of characteristic that's gonna give it. But yeah, I think the fronts are just normal. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and adjust the preload on these. And yeah, I'm gonna show you guys how that gets done. There's also a video on Silver's actual YouTube channel in case you guys are curious and looking into that. But yeah. All right, so you've got the coil over here, right? So pretty much what you're gonna do is you're gonna essentially loosen the bottom. Let me see here. Might have to get the spanner wrenches, but yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get the spanner wrenches. Oh, there you go. So essentially what you're gonna do to get correct preload here is you're gonna essentially loosen this. So you're gonna loosen the top perch here until you start having essentially no preload. So now the spring is able to move around, right? So once this is able to move around, you bring the spring all the way up, and then you're gonna tighten the very top perch all the way up until it's pretty snug on there. So now that it's snug, what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring the bottom one right here, go all the way up, and essentially what you're gonna do is you're going to get your spanner wrenches, and this is where the important part is. So you're gonna get your spanner wrenches, right? And you're gonna keep turning the top one while holding this bottom one down with your hand so it doesn't spin. You're gonna keep going up essentially like this until you get pretty much 5 millimeters of preload. And the spanner wrenches that Silver's actually provides is 5 millimeters exact. Keep going all the way up until you essentially get 5 millimeters. So let me take out the actual spanner wrench so you guys can see. All right, so now that I have the spanner wrench with me, I'm gonna keep spinning this. It seems like you could just do it by hand. You're gonna get your spanner wrench and make sure it fits in there. This is a little bit more play than I would want, so I'm gonna loosen it a little bit more. All right, let's back this thing off. That is pretty snug. So once you have your adjusted preload, you're gonna get the bottom one here. You're gonna go all the way up, and then you're gonna tighten it down. So that is pretty much how you adjust preload on these. And that is going to be for like a stock driving style or riding style. If you end up going to the track, you do some, you know, I don't know, you're going to do circuit racing, track racing, or you're going to be drifting, you know, it really is going to depend on what your application is. Preload is essentially going to change the way that the car is really going to behave. And you know, in some cases, you probably will want the stock preload, which is why I just did it 5 millimeters. Once you start getting into like really complex and like complicated racing, you really need to adjust your preload. You'd essentially do more than that or less than that, depending on what you want. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to lock this down. I'm going to do the rest. And that is pretty much that. So yeah, pretty simple. All right, so I've confirmed. So it's 219. So you're gonna need a 19 wrench, 19 impact, or a ratchet if you have one. And then essentially you're gonna need a 12. So 19, a 12. And then you will need your hammer and you'll need your flathead to get to the rear brake line off. That's gonna be it. So we're gonna go ahead and start taking that off right there. So should be pretty easy, hopefully. I've never taken them off, so I don't know, we'll see. All right, so let's go ahead and start taking these 212s out. So I'm actually gonna grab my other impact. So let's take these things off. Hopefully they come off smoothly, we'll see. Not extremely smoothly, but it came off and that's all that matters. Go ahead and do this side as well. That one is off. So brake lines are now off and out of the way. So I'll go ahead and start taking the 219 mils off. You need a big boy for this one for sure if you've never taken them off. So just be aware that they are going to be very difficult to get off. This gun makes it look easy. I promise you it's not that easy. I guess it really depends on what tools you have. So yeah, this gun just makes it look extremely easy when it's really not. Cool. And once again, this gun does make it look easy. So yeah, just don't assume that it's going to be easy. It's just, like I said, it's just the gun. So if you have good tools, of course, it's going to go a lot easier on you if you have good tools. For those of you guys that are using hand tools that are not powered, it might be kind of a pain. So just be aware. And then just be aware that once you guys are done doing your coilover swap, you are going to need an alignment. So don't skip out on the alignment. And don't forget bolt placement. Camber bolt goes on top and it has a washer on the end of the nut. And then the regular bolt, which has no eccentricity, which you can see here, the 2 bolts. This one has a little oblong shape to it so you can adjust camber, and this one doesn't. So yeah, oblong goes on top and then the other one goes in the bottom. So this is loose. Now we can go to the top and essentially loosen the top 14s. So yeah, and then these are going to be the 14s. Just be aware that your coilover is going to want to fall down. So yeah. Oh, I guess they're not 14s. I guess they're 12s. We go grab the 12s. So I lied. So 12s. So grab a 12. Might have to be a little bit deep. But yeah, grab a 12, and then these are going to be 12s right here. All right. So now that I have my 12, I'm going to undo these. Like I said, be aware that your strut is going to want to fall. I'm actually just going to hold the bottom of the coilover with my left arm. There, leave it like that. Go ahead and get this nut out of the way and get this thing on out of here. You want to make sure you don't snag this line or snag your brake line, because you can damage the sensor. And that is no bueno. Your coilover job is going to turn into another maybe $200 for an ABS sensor. So yeah, cool. So this one's off, and with that strut being off, now I can install the coilover. So we're going to repeat the process, or reverse order, I guess, and put the strut up. We're going to tighten up the top 12s, and then once you tighten up the top 12s, tighten up the bottom 19s. That's pretty much it. You're going to have to adjust your camber, of course, after, but yeah. So like I said, we're going to be doing the reverse process here. So go ahead, get this coilover on up, All right, and then you're gonna wanna make sure that you line up your camber plates correctly. Because there is a correct way of lining up those plates. Not everybody knows. Some people think it's common sense, but not everybody knows how the camber plates are supposed to look. They're supposed to go so. Let me show you guys real quick. And I actually didn't measure this coilover against the strut. Should have done that, see how low it's going to be. But yeah, let me show you guys how the camber plates are supposed to be mounted here. So you want to make sure your camber plates are facing this way, so left to right for adjustment for camber. So essentially the wheel, it's either going to be out for positive or in for negative. Best way to look at it is like this. So positive, negative camber. So yeah, make sure you guys have these on correctly. And yeah, when actually, like I said, I'm gonna have to take this coilover and just measure it with the stock one, and then pretty much see how high or how low I want it. So yeah, I'll do that real quick, and then we'll go ahead and start on the rear. And then I'm going to throw all of them together, tighten everything up, and it should be pretty much it. So nothing too crazy going on here. It's just coilovers. Literally should only take you like an hour. If you're experienced at it, could take you up to 2 or 3 hours. Depends on who you are. It's taking me quite some time because I'm recording this for you guys. It would literally only take me like 30 minutes or an hour to get this done. But yeah, be right back. Well, it's definitely going to be a lot lower. I'm going to see how it's going to look and just see how it goes. I think it's gonna be like 2 inches lower. I think is what it looked like. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna tighten up the strut top mounts, and I'm gonna tighten up the 219s, and then we'll move on to the back and go from there. But so far so good. I do need to go to work tomorrow, so this needs to be done tonight. GC ain't running, obviously, because trans is broken, so yeah. All right, so we have moved on to the back. So this is where you're gonna need your flathead and your hammer. You essentially have to try to take this one off. Probably gonna need a longer flathead. Yeah, I think so. All right, so I've got my longer flathead out. So I'm gonna use this. Oh, it's gonna be kind of a pain. We're gonna put some PV Blaster, let the thing soak, and then we'll try to hit it one more time. Soak this in some PV Blaster. And I'm gonna soak the other side as well. What I'm gonna do while this soaks, I'm actually just gonna do the front passenger side real quick, and then we'll hop on back to this one. So, well, the fronts are done. Now moving on to the rear. This one might be a little bit tougher because the nut is on the opposite side, and you typically want to impact the side that has a nut on it. The nut's on this side, so I guess we'll see. I barely even have enough space too. Shit. Nope, I got it. Dude, this gun's a beast. This gun is an absolute beast. I didn't even put any type of PD blaster on that either. Alright, I got my short 19. Hopefully this works. Ooh, this thing got so much torque. Alright, so that broke it loose. So, alright, got those two bolts out. So, now we're gonna move on up to the top. I'm gonna do the top 12s. And should be pretty much it for this side, and I'm gonna do the other side after. Alright, so you can see from the top, you're gonna be doing these right here. So, of course, you also want to be careful with these, because as soon as these completely drop, the strut is going to drop as well. So, let's see. Alright. And then once we get all these off, the strut will come on out. Alright, so that one is off. Can now drop the rear strut. Okay, cool. Rear one's out. I'm gonna measure that one next to the coilover, see how that looks, make sure it's like 2 inches. Yeah, so we're gonna go on, put the new one on, and then do the other side, and should be pretty much it. All right, so top mounts are on. So now, we'll do this bottom one right here. Make sure it lines up pretty nicely. Start lifting this thing on up. Of course, you want to make sure that the brake line goes where it needs to go. All right, we're gonna lift this thing on up and put the rest of the bolts in there. Gonna make sure I have the brake line routed the way that's supposed to, because I can't quite remember. Okay, so looked at the other side. This is how this thing's gonna go. All right, after a lot of effort, this side is on. Be aware that you're probably gonna wanna lift the car from here, or at least lift the rear suspension from here to get it to line up with this mount. That was my issue. I was lifting it from the bottom right here, and that was causing it to go kind of angled and kind of going cockeyed like that. So it wasn't lining up. Now this one's lined up. I'm gonna do the other side, and that's pretty much gonna be it. So yeah, super fun. Obviously do the top first, and then once you do the top, you line it up down here, same thing as the front, and you should be good to go. All right, so the coilovers are all on. I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty low, so I'm gonna have to adjust the height. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these on, lower it down, just see how low it actually is, and just go from there. So we'll see. We're pretty much done. That was a lot bigger of a hassle than I thought it was going to be. Mainly just because the rear end just wasn't wanting to line up correctly with the strut, or the coilover I should say, so that was a pain. But she's done, she's lowered. It was way off when I first got everything like settled. So when I dropped the car down, the rear end was like 2 inches slammed more than the front. It was literally like the rear wheels were like tucking. So it was tucking 17x9s with a 255 tire. So it was tucking those tires. And I ended up raising it back up like 2 inches or so, and it seems to have evened out. I'm liking where it's at now, to be quite honest. It's kind of the fitment that I was trying to get. I did have to add some camber because of the wheel spacers once again. So for those of you guys that are trying to run no camber, you can definitely run no camber on the fronts with the roll and the pull on a 17x9 wheel. So just for those of you guys wondering, you can definitely do it. But like I said, I'm running some camber just to clear the wheel spacer, since I'm going to be running a pretty big spacer to clear the Brumbos. So yeah, so let me actually show you guys what it looks like. It actually looks really, really good. So yeah, there she is. She's all lowered. The wheel fitment is awesome on the front and the rear. I am going to have to wash these wheels off because I did not wash them off when I had taken them off at the GC. Yeah, and these are, like I said, 17x9, 18x9 woodwork as well. I'm just using what I have because I have the wheels, so why not? So, yeah, overall it went smoothly, other than the rear struts not wanting to line up. But yeah, this thing looks awesome. Love the way it turned out. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the whole install here of the coilovers. I'm going to see how they ride tomorrow completely, since I am going to be driving this to work. It's the main reason why I got this all done in one day, is because I had to take this thing to work. So yeah, and for those of you guys trying to do this, you can definitely do it in one day. It'll probably take you like an hour or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at the very most. The rear end was just fighting me, so it took me a while. Other than that, if I didn't have the rear end fighting me, probably would take me an hour. It really is not that bad. So thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, these are Silver's coilovers on both the Fozzy and on the GC. So yeah, I like these coilovers so far, especially on the GC. I have yet to ride them on the Forester, so I will ride them, and then I'll actually put a quick review before I end the video. So I am actually going to do that. So you guys will see me again. It'll be technically tomorrow, but you guys will be seeing me in the same video. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a test drive tomorrow to work and see how they ride. And then obviously I'm gonna do the alignment on the Forester as well, and I'll update you guys. But yeah, thank you guys. All right, so how do the coilovers ride? I mean, they ride pretty perfect to me. They ride almost as nice as the GC does. Of course, with them being the stock springs compared to being Swift springs, the comfortability in the GC is a lot better than it is on the Forester. I would say it's probably like a 5 or 10% difference between the two. There is a gentleman, Anthony, that's been helping me out with like choosing these coilovers, and he did tell me as well that I was gonna probably notice like a 10% difference, and he was definitely spot on. The coilovers are still extremely comfortable. Of course, they are stiffer. They are stiffer than what your stock counterpart would be on your car, whether it be like a Subaru, or if you get like a Nissan or just some other car. They are of course gonna be stiffer than stock. So just be aware that, you know, going over bumps and whatnot is just gonna be a lot harsher, but they are extremely comfortable, surprisingly. I do personally prefer the right feel of these over the BCs that I had before. Then again, everybody has a different preference when it comes to what they want their coilovers to feel like, you know, what they want their suspension to feel like. And me personally, I did like the overall feel of the Silvers over the BCs. And it's super weird to say this, but they actually kind of remind me of my buddy's Fortunatos that he had on STI. So I would even almost like compare them to Fortunatos, but Fortunatos are on a different price point as well, so you kind of have to keep that in mind also. But yeah, if you get the Silvers coilovers with the sock springs, like they're perfectly fine. They ride perfect. I have no complaints. And if you get the Silvers with the Swift springs, that is even better. Like I said, it's more comfortable in the GC having the Swift springs compared to the stock springs that Silvers provides. And they did make me aware of it as well. They're like, hey, like the Swift springs do ride a little bit nicer, a little bit smoother than the stock springs will. And it is like a 10% difference, if that, 5-10% difference. But yeah, they ride super nice. As far as like the settings goes, I have the fronts at I think 6 clicks over the rear. The fronts have like 12 clicks. The rears I have at 6 clicks. So that is my setting on the Forester. I can't remember what I have on the GC, but they are definitely stiffer on the GC. I have it at a stiffer setting. So yeah, the coilovers feel awesome. Overall, I would definitely recommend you guys to get some Silvers coilovers over BCs. That's just my opinion. You know, like I said, everybody has different opinions on how they like their suspension to feel and so on and so forth. Of course, with me just barely getting these, they are pretty new, so I don't know what the durability of these coilovers are going to be, so we'll just see over time how they look, you know, see if they ever blow out on me, how long it takes for them to blow out, and so on and so forth. So yeah, Silvers, you guys are doing great. Like I said, both of the coilovers I have on the GC and on the Forester feel amazing. I really appreciate you guys for helping me out with everything as well. Like we did have an incident with my GC where the CB boot was rubbing up on the actual strut mount. And it's because the strut mount for the GC, it was linear. It was like literally just a straight line. And then on the STIs and yeah, I think it was just STIs and some of the Foresters, the coilover is not supposed to be straight. It kind of goes angled up, so that way you have more clearance between the CD axle boot and the actual strut. They helped me out. They sent me over another pair of strut mounts for the fronts for the GC, and it's been perfect ever since. And the Forester, this have a very similar design where the mounting is lower than the actual strut itself. So I actually have my old ones right here. So this is what I'm talking about. So as y'all can see, this right here, it's straight. So the shock body is straight with the mounting of the actual shock. So with the STIs, actually, you have a mounting right here, and then this base is actually up higher by like 5 millimeters. So it's like starts like right here and is bolted onto the mount. The mount sits lower. So yeah, just something to think about. You know, since I was working very closely with Anthony at Silvers, I did give him some of that information, which helped them out with their R&D. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys for helping me out once again. And yeah, the coilovers feel awesome. Those are my 2 cents. I would highly recommend them if you have the opportunity to buy some Silvers coilovers. I know there aren't that many people running them, so yeah, just want to test them out. I like them so far. They're awesome. So that is pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I hope you guys are having a great day, a great night, wherever you are. Yeah, we'll see what else I got in store. Definitely the Foresters and be getting some Brembos here soon. I have everything here now, so we'll see when I make that video, when I throw them on, maybe next weekend. It's gonna be my 3 days, so yeah, we'll see. So all right, well, other than that, y'all take care. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, peace.